Hi guys, good afternoon and welcome to Your Stocks. I'm Pavitra. With me is Ekta. And Ekta, we're definitely ending the year on a very positive note, right? It's like the market has this renewed momentum to end the year. But it's definitely looking very positive, 1.6% higher on the Nifty at that 17,350 mark right now. The good news is that the broader markets are also participating, right? So you have the mid-cap index, the small-cap index. The small-cap index is up 1.9%. That's the kind of momentum that we're seeing. And at 4:1, we haven't seen this kind of advanced decline in a while.
Absolutely. And you know, the advanced decline ratio or the broader market momentum is continuing from Wednesday's trading session. We saw FII's net buy for 2 consecutive sessions. We've seen the advanced decline ratio, which was expansive for Wednesday as well. So it seems as though it's really building in terms of gains. Yes, we did have a bad March series, but at least it seems as though we are ending the fiscal, we are ending the month of March on a positive note. And definitely for the markets very close to the high point of the day, which stood at 17,364. Currently, the Nifty is at around 17,350. So definitely building in terms of gains. If you see the intraday chart for the Nifty, it's just been a one-way street for the markets and now close to the high point of the day. But in such a lively market, I'm sure we have a lot of questions as well. So joining us this afternoon, we have Ruchit Jain, who's the lead research at 5paisa.com, and Astha Jain, who's the research analyst at Hem Securities, to answer all of your queries. Welcome, Astha, as well as gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining in this afternoon. Let's get to the first question then. We have Shalini, who writes to us from Mumbai. She holds 15 shares of Bajaj Auto, which she's bought at around 3,000. She's a medium-term investor and wants to know whether to hold or sell that particular stock. So she's currently sitting on a profit at this point in time. Astha, you know, auto sales, it couldn't be a better time to get this query because we have the auto sales due tomorrow for the month of March. What is your sense in terms of what Bajaj could report and what FY24 could look like?
Good afternoon, Ekta. So if I talk about Bajaj Auto, see the performance which this company is delivering, despite we know that there are macro headwinds still, and their export market is not working very strongly for the company, still they have posted strong financial performance. So that creates some sort of confidence. And by the time I think this macro headwinds will stabilize, definitely this will be benefiting Bajaj Auto in the longer run. In fact, in the domestic markets also, what we feel is that they in the domestic market, their 125cc plus segment is showing strong growth, and it will help the company in generating positive top line. So all in all, we are expecting a good set of numbers from this counter going ahead. Maybe it will take another 3 months to 4 months in order to show some strong export numbers. But all in all, I think this is a counter where one can stay in. Here we can assign the price target of 39.95 to 4,050-55 in the medium term.
Okay, so you could perhaps hold on for now. Ruchit, coming to you on Bajaj, how is this one looking on the technicals? Because this month has not been bad, right? I mean, it's actually done quite well. It's up 7% in a month, which has otherwise seen the market really not do well at all.
Yeah, hi. Firstly, very good afternoon to everyone. I think yes, it has not done well. It has not done bad only in this month. But if we look at last couple of years as well, the stock has gone through more of a time-wise corrective phase, wherein 4,000, 4,100 has acted as a resistance. But on any kind of declines towards that 3,000, 3,300 mark, the stock has also witnessed good buying interest. So the medium-term charts are not negative. They are a bit sideways as of now, but I think once the stock gives a breakout above that 4,000 mark, the stock could see some renewed buying interest, and we could see levels around 4,400, 4,600 maybe next 6 to 8 months. So until we see any kind of selling pressure coming in with higher volumes, I think the trend still remains sideways to bullish. So I would recommend to continue hold on to the stocks from a 6 months perspective.
Okay, hold on to Bajaj with a 6 months perspective. The next query that comes in, this one is from the IT pack. So Shweta Kapoor writes to us from Pune. She holds 30 shares of LTI Mindtree, which she bought at 4,000. She's a medium-term investor and wants to know whether she should remain invested in the stock or whether she should, get out, and what is the outlook on LTI Mindtree. Astha, coming to you on this one, take us through how this specific stock looks, but also, ahead of the Q4 earnings season. IT is about to start in less than 2 weeks. What else do you like from the IT pack?
See, LTI Mindtree is a counter where one can stay in. I don't think that one should exit from this stock. And here, what we recommend is the hold with a price target of around 4,900 to 5,000 in the longer term. So, talking about this particular counter, here, what creates the confidence for us is that the management is really very optimistic. They have set $1 billion of incremental revenue coming in from over the next 2 to 3 years. So, that is really creating confidence when management is setting such sort of aspiration, then definitely it will, if it will be delivered, then definitely it will be boosting the top line as well as bottom line. So here, this is the one basic point. Another is the synergy of LTI and Mindtree itself is looking very promising, because if we talk about Mindtree, they are very much, competent and in the front end digital solution. While if I talk about LTI, so they are very much, competent in the back end of ERP transformation services. So I mean, by the cross selling of the products, and they can, I mean, really take the benefit of the synergies arising from this merger. And in the longer term, by FY27, we believe that EBIT margins will also hold strong. So it is a long term story. So one should stay invested in if one is not in a hurry to take out the money. So my advice here is to hold the stock. Initial price target can be set at around 4,900 to 4,975.
Okay, well, ICICI Securities is also quite bullish with regards to the merged entity. They expect the EBIT margin to improve by 260 basis points over FY23 to FY26 to 18.6%, which is in line with the management guidance, which stood at around 19 to 20% by FY27 as well. So let's see whether they manage to achieve that or not. But let's get to another query. We have Anup Jain, who writes to us from Pune. He holds 200 shares of South Indian Bank at 20 rupees, medium-term investor, wants to know future of his investment given the recent news of the MD and the CEO of the bank stepping down. Well, Ruchit, how would you approach a lot of the PSU banks which have done well this week in particular? And South Indian Bank, it's currently at around 14 odd rupees. What would you recommend technically on the stock? The buy price of the person who's asked the question is at 20.
I think if I do some relative analysis to other PSU name stocks in a mid to long term, on a mid to long term basis, the South Indian banks have definitely shown some underperformance compared to other stocks. In the short term also, I think it was just a phase when we had seen a good pullback move from that 8 rupees to 20 rupees. But again, with this gap down opening which we have seen off late, the stock has breached its important support. So I think this underperformance could continue in the near term. We could see some pullback in towards that 16, 17 mark. But ideally, I think even if we see some good run up in the overall PSU banking space, then this could be an underperformer compared to the other names such as Canara Bank or Bank of Baroda. So my take would be to take an exit from the South Indian Bank, and rather from the PSU banking space prefer Canara Bank or Bank of Baroda from a medium term perspective. And if you want to shift to any kind of private sector bank, then I think Federal Bank charts such are quite positive. So Federal Bank could also be one of the other option over South Indian Bank.
Okay, get out of South Indian Bank and maybe look at some of the private mid-sized banks. Astha, do you agree? Is this your view as well, that you would perhaps get out of South Indian Bank at these levels?
Actually, if we see that the news which came in, a day before, I think that news is quite disappointing, because what I think that this MD, they have onboarded in September 20 only. So a very less tenure. In that less tenure, he has tried to do many churning. In fact, they have, successful in managing their GNPL ratio at around 0.6%. And in the balance sheet expansion also, they have taken certain steps. They have launched new products also in case of vehicle or personal loans, even credit card. So these all are high growth products in which they have started focusing on. But now whatever this news has come, I think it is a little sentiment dampener, and that's why even if a horizon is a short term, then one can stay one can book some sort of profit or losses, whatever it is, and exit out of the stock. But if the horizon is long term, then I believe then one should stay invested in, because I still believe the way this bank is doing or performing, it will yield results in the longer term. So here the horizon matter. If it is a long term, then stay invested. But if it is a short term, then one can exit from the stock, because in the short term, we can see some sort of volatility due to this news.
Okay, all right. So that's on South Indian Bank. The stock currently up around 1.4%. NR Lakum writes to us from Andhra Pradesh, holds 1,000 shares of Godrej Agrovet, which he's bought at 500, and 1,000 shares of Praj Industries at 350. So two broader market stocks. Long-term investor wants to know whether to hold or sell at current levels, sitting on a loss on both of them at this point. Astha, what would you recommend?
So talking about Godrej Agrovet, yes, this loss is there due to, the results performance which were not up to the mark, because their vegetable oil segment was not able to perform due to the steep increase in the palm oil prices. On the simultaneously, we see about the other segments also, like even the milk segment also, or the dairy segment also, due to the increase in the milk procurement prices up to 20%, I should say. So that is also acting as the dampener. But in the longer term, there are other segments like animal feed segment, etc. I think they will be performing well. So in the longer term, I think Godrej, and in fact, Godrej is having their own brand. And they, due to this brand, they have a strong connect with the farmers, also strong distribution network. So that all will be playing effects in the longer term. So here, if the horizon is long term, definitely I advise him to stay invested, and price target can be assigned at around 450 to 470 odd levels. Talking about Praj Industries is looking okay to me right now, not very much optimistic. But I think because they are into the ethanol now, they are expanding their footprints globally. In fact, they have installed CBG plant for some business conglomerates in India. So other things are looking quite okay for this company. So I am finding this an average stock. So even I'm recommending hold, because the long-term horizon looks strong. So for the longer term, 350 to 370 can be attributed as a price target for the Praj Industries.
Okay, looks all right for a longer term horizon. Ruchit, let me come to you on this as well. I know you don't have a view on Godrej and you don't cover that, but on Praj Industries, he has 1,000 shares at 350. Do you also think from a longer term perspective it's okay to hold this one?
I think yes, these are not the levels where one should look for exit because we have already seen some price-wise correction from higher levels of 450. And if you look at last couple of years' performance in the stock since July 2021, the stock has been oscillating within this broad range of 300 to 450. So prices are now trading near the lower end of that band. So wait for some pullback moves, maybe towards 375, 380, where you can again take a review on the stock. But at current levels, I think the downside seems to be limited from here on. So you should continue to hold on for a pullback at least.
Okay, all right. We need to take a short break now, but more queries to be answered on the other side. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Well, steady for the markets. The bank Nifty is up around 680 odd points. We have the Nifty, which is up around 285 odd points at this point in time. And it's only improved for the Nifty because at one point in time during noon, there were at least, 10 to 15 stocks which were declining within the Nifty. But as you can see now, there are only 3 stocks which are in the red. That's Apollo Hospitals, Asian Paints and Sun Pharma. Only 3 of these stocks are seeing some amount of profit booking. The remaining part of the Nifty, which is around 47 stocks, are trading in the green. So that gives you an indication in terms of the momentum that we have on our hands. But we still have with us Ruchit Jain and Astha Jain to answer all of your stock queries this afternoon. Let's get to another query. We have Marina Joy D'Souza, who writes to us from Mangaluru, holds 12,000 shares of Jain Irrigation Systems, which is bought at around 35 odd rupees, medium-term investor, and wants to know what to do with this particular investment. Well, Astha, the positive bit of news is that they've completed the merger of the global business with the Temasek-owned arm. But in terms of stock performance going forward, what would you recommend?
Ekta, I apologize. At this moment of time, we don't cover Jain Irrigation, so I'm really sorry I can't comment on this stock.
All right, Ruchit, what about you, technically?
So I think technically we have seen some pullback move off late, but the broader trend is not yet positive. In this pullback move, the stock can rally towards that 38 or 39 mark. But ideally, until we see any kind of good volumes coming in along with the price up move, I think one should look to take an exit at higher levels around 38 to 40.
Okay, got that. That is on Jain Irrigation. The next stock that we are tracking, this one is a query which comes in from Ramesh, who writes to us from Bangalore. He has 1,000 shares of SOM Distilleries and Breweries at 140 rupees. He's a medium-term investor again and wants to know what he should do. The stock is currently at around 150 rupees. Ruchit, this one has had quite the move in the past month or so. I was just looking at it. It's up 30%. So do you think this up move will continue?
Yes, in fact, the price up moves have been supported by good volumes, and whenever there are in between corrections, along with the broader markets, there are very low volumes on corrections. So this is a good sign, and even today we have seen a good volume breakout, which has been seen. So over short to medium term, 170, 175 could be expected in the stock. So definitely one should ride this trend for targets of 170.
Okay, all right. Well, let's get to another question now. Ramesh writes to us from Bangalore. In fact, that's on SOM Distilleries. So we did already answer that particular query. But we have PN Giri, who writes to us from Hyderabad, holds 25 shares of Anup Engineering, which is bought at around 982.5. Medium-term investor wants to know what to do and whether they should hold on to that particular stock. They can hold it for 3 months and if it will result in any kind of incremental profit. Well, Astha, would you have a view on that?
Yes, sure. So talking about the Anup Engineering counter, I think this counter is looking very strong. They are into the process equipment manufacturing with the main focus on heat exchangers. So first of all, the order book is very strong. In fact, they have shown a substantial rise in their order book because it was only 393 CR in the Q2 FY23, which has jumped to around 596 CR. I hope I'm right with my figures. So, I mean, they have shown the substantial jump in their order book. Along with that, they are now focusing on other segments also, that is the nuclear, space, defense, etc. So all these, these segments will be the high growth segment for the company, and they will be yielding very strong numbers, I hope, going ahead. So in fact, the quarter third performance was very strong, and going ahead also we are expecting strong set of numbers from this counter. So all in all, yes, one can stay invested in the stock. 1100 can be attributed price target to this counter at the initial level.
Okay, got that. Ruchit, let me also get in your view on this one. How do you look at Anup Engineering? Is this something that you would hold? Because he's very clearly said he has a 3-month time horizon and he wants to know within that what the stock can, really do. This past month has really not been good. So what do you think is going on there?
We have seen some price-wise correction from the 1200 level, but if you look at the volume action, then the volumes are quite low on this corrective phase compared to what were the volumes that we have seen when the stock was going up. So I think it's not much negative considering that the volumes are very low on correction. So I think you should continue to hold on. If the stock manages to cross the 1200 levels in the short term in next 2 or 3 months, then I think he can again expect levels towards 1400 over short to medium term. So hold on to the current price levels. I think he should not take an exit over here. Rather, wait for next 2 or 3 months more where 1200 could be expected again.
Okay, got that. We're going to try to squeeze in one final query. This one comes in from Sushil Bhatia, who writes to us from Punjab. He holds 1,749 shares of Yes Bank at an average price of 32 for over 3 years. He's a long-term investor and wants to know what he should do over here. So often on the show we get questions on Yes Bank. So Asa, let me come to you on this one. It's currently less than half the price at which he bought it, currently around 15 rupees on Yes Bank. What would you suggest?
I think he can, if he is ready to take losses, then he should exit from the stock because there are various near-term challenges which this bank can face going ahead also. Although they have tried to improve the situation, even they have sell their stressed assets to the JC Flower, which helps in maintaining their GNP ratio. In fact, they have raised funds from the Carlyle also, around 8,900 crores. So that will be helping in showing strong credit growth going ahead. But I think all these steps will be a long-term, movement for the company in the short term because there are various dampeners which are acting for this company right now. So like the writing down of 81 bonds is also challenged. So I think all these things are not working in favor of a bank in the shorter run. So if the horizon is short run, then definitely one can exit from the stock because we are not expecting the stock to show any sort of upside movement, at least from the 3 months now.
Okay, all right. What would your view be, Ruchit, on the technicals of Yes?
Well, sell on rise should be the strategy. We witnessed a good pullback move recently in the month of November, December. But again, we saw that the higher levels, at higher levels, clearly the stock is witnessing selling pressure. So comparatively, we have already spoken of some other names such as Federal Bank, Canara Bank, Bank of Baroda. I think those would tend to give much better returns in terms of risk. Also, I think the risk is lower over there compared to Yes Bank. So I think one should keep a sell on rise strategy. if the stock comes around 17 levels anytime in the near future, that should be taken as an opportunity to exit from it.
Okay, got that. That is view coming in on Yes Bank on both the fundamentals as well as technicals. But with that, Ruchit and Astha, we're going to take your leave. Thank you very much for joining us and, taking out the time to answer all of these individual queries which have come through. For our viewers, remember, you can always email us your queries and we will address them with our experts. We leave the market in absolutely solid form, 290 points higher on the Nifty, 700 points on the Nifty Bank. So thanks for tuning in. Closing bell comes up next for the final hour of trade for this entire financial year.